what? I know the DJ.
Do you?
Welcome to episode 17 of But I Know the DJ, a podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, and pop culture through the unfiltered opinions of host Snacks, a.k.a. Nike Air Snacks, powered by Dope Entertainment and our sponsor, Anchor. As always, I'd like to shout out our Black-owned business of the week, Jamaica Me Hungry. The brainchild of Chef Ernie Campbell was started as a private chef service in 2012, grew and expanded into a full-service catering, food truck, and restaurant business. Jamaica Me Hungry has a one-of-a-kind taste and specializes in quality service through food trucks, restaurant, and catering services. You can find them on 225 Center Street, Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, 02131, or on Instagram at Jamaica Me, M-I, Hungry. And now I'd like to introduce our guest. He is a serial entrepreneur, founder of Pretty Ugly Media, essential men's grooming and alpha marketing group with interest in investing and mentorship. We welcome Kareem Lyder. What's up, my guy?
What's going on,
Good
man?
to see you, bro. It's been a minute.
It has.
You've come and gone like the wind, but it's good to see you, man.
Same. Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, of course. And this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And we've been in the talks for a while. And but good to finally have you on. I know you have tons of experience, and just like especially recently, I think you're someone who reacts to whatever is kind of given to you, and tries to just capitalize on the opportunities.
Yeah,
and
of course.
You know what I mean. I definitely want kind of the people to hear that, whether it be for inspiration or for just strategic planning. As the intro suggests, you're a serial entrepreneur. You have tons of shit under your belt. And I would love to just kind of get a background. I mean, we can just start from day one.
Okay.
Just starting in nightlife. What was that like? What was kind of the environment and climate at that time, and how did it start for you?
So for me, and again, thank you for having me on your platform. Definitely respect it.
Word.
But for me, when I started out, I always wanted to get into the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And, my brother rapped, my sister sang. I didn't have any of that talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, hey, what can I do? Back then I was looking up to dudes like Diddy, Irv Gotti,
that mogul
Russell
shit.
Simmons. And it's like, they were the brains behind things. They did the marketing, they did the management. So that's where I started. I did both of those. I mean, those things for both of my siblings. Both of them were doing really well. But then, life just happens. And as a manager, if the artist isn't able to, execute on music, it's like, what can you do? You don't have anything to sell. So around that time, I started doing parties. I actually started doing parties with Rob.
Oh, word.
Shout out Hennessy Rob.
Shout out Hennessy Rob. I haven't been in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy. Super nice guy.
So me and Rob, we grew up together.
No doubt.
He was my first business partner.
Oh, word.
And
I never knew that.
Yeah. So it was right before I had my son. I went to school in Atlanta, and I was about to start doing parties in Atlanta. And around that time, Rob was working with some promoters out in Boston, but he was about to get out of the scene. So when I had my son, I came back to Boston. I said, yo, Rob, we got to do it. We got the look. It's easy.
Yeah.
Like, let's just make it happen. So Rob, shout out Rob. He was my first business partner.
And so at that time, so you two black businessmen.
Yeah.
Like what? Like how? You being like, yo, we got the look and we got the whatever.
Yeah.
We might have the connects. We're smooth, whatever. But there are obviously certain things in the game that are hurdles that are there inevitably, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
What was it like, kind of entering that market?
Entering that market, it was tough. I mean, the first spot that we had, it ended at 1 a.m. Shout out to Blue Wave. That was the Seaport before.
When it was like a desert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when it was a wasteland.
So we just found like a lounge.
Yeah.
And we were hungry. We were outside passing out flyers. The owner liked the hustle and the grind. He gave us a chance. And that was our first spot that we kind of put on the map. Obviously for the urban market, there wasn't many options, especially for downtown.
Yeah.
So it's like two young guys. We're putting together something that, positive energy, positive people. So people gravitated towards it. And, they didn't really care. It ended at 1. They're like, hey, bump it, like, it's good vibes. So
Yeah.
that was the first thing that we did that was pretty successful.
And is it one of those things that you're like, because this might be one of the only urban market stuff in downtown Boston, oh, it's going to boom right from jump? Or is it something that you kind of had to grow and let people word of mouth and let it kind of take time?
Yeah, well, with anything, you know, I always tell people, put your best foot forward with anything you're doing, right? Whether it's not the most ideal thing that you want, but once you put your best foot forward and you put all your energy into it, eventually, you know, everything's a process. So you're going to grow into what you want, you know, so it's going to manifest. So it might not be at that spot. It might grow into another opportunity that, you know, somebody else will see, oh, wow, look at what they're doing over there. Imagine if they was over here in this environment, what they could produce. So we went hard body with it. We pushed it like it was venue. Right. We killed it.
Of course.
This is back, you know, MySpace days.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
MySpace.
And that's the thing that people don't understand. And Darius kind of alluded to this back in episode 2 that, like, especially as promoters, like, you have to believe that it is a venue. Like, it is a venue type spot. It is an icon of beauty. Like,
you have to.
You just have to, or else people aren't going to believe that for themselves. If you don't believe it, how are they supposed to believe it?
Exactly.
Right?
And I always tell that to newer promoters coming in. I always tell them, like, listen, man, you have to go 1,000% in. You know, like, that's the only way things are going to work. And that's just with anything. You know, that's with anything in life, relationships, business, anything. So, yeah, I mean, I've always been, you know, a big proponent of, like, yo, that's how you got to go. You just got to grind. You know what I mean? Like, my line used to be no grind, no shine, you know? Like, it's like, that's just what you got to do. If you don't grind, you can't shine.
And is it Pretty Ugly Media at this point, or it hasn't been born yet?
No. So the funny thing is, Pretty Ugly Media, well, not even Pretty Ugly Media. Pretty Ugly was always supposed to be a clothing line. Like, I've always been.
Because I was always
fashion.
I'm always like, so when we started working together, I was like, I don't know what this means. I like it. I like it. I don't really see how it fits, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? And do you get that a lot? Like, what the fuck is Pretty Ugly mean?
A lot of people do ask me, and you know, it really did come from, you know, like my old industry name. So my old industry name used to be K Pretty. So I always learned in business, you don't want, like, you know, I used to say K Pretty presents, but it's like, hey, if people have issues with K Pretty, they might not support it. So it's like, okay,
that's a fact.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, this brand that I already had a logo for, Pretty Ugly, you know, people like the logo. It's like, let's just throw that on, and that's how Pretty Ugly Media was born.
Is that the logo that you still currently have?
Yeah, it is.
That, like, the circle thing?
The circular, yeah, with Pretty Ugly.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be, as you can see, like, it works perfectly, like
on
clothes,
hats
on
and
hats and things like that.
I mean, it makes sense as a clothing brand for sure.
Yeah. Which is, actually, I was going to say that's one of the things I'm working on now, is actually following through on that and, you know, making that a reality again. Word.
And so how long did it take to, because like I said, by the time we met, you had some of the biggest venues that you could have, you know, as a quote unquote urban, you know, event planner, as a black man. So to me, I'm like, you know, this dude is definitely solidified in my eyes. How long did it take to kind of get to that point? What were some of the hurdles?
I mean, there was a lot of hurdles. I mean, obviously there was a lot of losses, you know, like a lot of people who, you know, saw me at the time where it's like, you know, all his spots are like 500 plus capacity spots, you know, multiple days, a whole weekend. It took a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort to, you know, to realize that. And then for venues, I call them my business partners because that's how I approach it.
For sure.
It's like venues needed to see that over an extended period of time to believe in me, to give me the opportunity where, you know, for me, and just for the culture is like, you know, Icon Fridays, for that to happen, like I had to take a lot of losses before that, you know, like that's one of the things I pride myself on is, you know, breaking down some of those barriers where I felt like, you know, before I was downtown, there weren't too many, you know, black promoters given that type of opportunity, especially not on real weekend days.
Right, it'd be a
you
Thursday.
know, you get a Thursday or you get a Sunday.
Right,
you know?
right.
Shout out my man Jeff, J. Francois, Nightlife Execs. That was my company before Pretty Ugly Me. And yeah, so we had venue on a Sunday. It was a West Indian night.
Yep.
But it's like, okay, you could have a Sunday or you could have a Thursday. Friday, Saturday,
Yeah, it's for
these untouchable.
Yeah,
you can't have these, you know.
Yeah. I feel that.
So, you know, it took it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, like I said, a lot of money.
But you're always working.
but
You're always
that's-
working for that. Like you're always like, but I'm gonna do this and build this to get that Friday, Saturday, or was it just something else?
Well, not even, honestly, and that's why I tell people coming up, I say, listen, whatever you do, you know, whether you love it, you know, maybe it's not the most ideal thing, maybe you didn't visualize yourself being in this position, like do it like you love it, you know, because what'll happen is when I was doing, you know, when I broke up with my other partner, like I said, shout out Jay Francois, Nightlife Execs, we split. I started doing stuff on my own, and I was doing Cure Thursdays. Cure Thursdays, I started doing something different. I said, you know, what can I do to like change the scene, you know? And I realized nobody was really bringing like celebrities and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started bringing celebrities, and
Boston's just that weird ass market.
Yeah,
I talk about it
Boston's
all the
that-
time from here. It's like it's a
Yeah.
big market. It's not a big market. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
And it's honestly, it's because of the people who are in that space, you know, like, you know, a lot of the times people are looking at it more so as like, if I bring a celebrity and they cost me 10,000, how can I make money? When it's like you create that value, you can create it and still make money and still, you know, thrive. Because obviously you're supposed to really, in any business, you're supposed to think about the end consumer. You're supposed to think about your clientele. What's going to make them feel excited to go to your parties if every week it's just, oh, it's a little black dress party. Oh, this week it's the red party.
Yeah.
Ladies free. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like,
I think it was Jeff. I think it was Jeff who said, I don't want to see another sexy Saturday for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, oh, this is recycled. Like,
This all recycled, you know. So it's like I feel like that gave me, it kind of distanced me from others when I started just bringing out celebrities all the time, and that kind of created that lane. And then it just so happened again, you know, there's luck in business, you know, and it's like it was just perfect timing where whatever was happening on the Friday at Icon, it wasn't working for whatever reason.
right.
And he said, hey, let's just give this guy a chance, you know? And, you know, I heard chatter. It was really never supposed to be like what it became, where it was like a weekly urban night.
For what,
For
2-3 years running?
About 2-3 years,
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was a hell of a ride,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
We had
yeah.
Chris Brown come through. I mean, Tory Lanez, 50 Cent. Like, I mean, we had a lot of big artists over there, too. And, but it was just timing, and it was perfect timing, and it was just I took the opportunity and ran with it.
Yeah, and so there's a couple things specifically, just kind of where we are in your career here. I don't think people understand what goes behind the scenes in terms of booking celebrities, having celebrity hosts, celebrity DJs. Can you kind of just speak upon, you know, what was the learning curve, and then the process, and then how are you able to replicate that moving forward?
Yeah, I think, you know, it really wasn't a learning curve. It was just, you know, the hardest thing in anything is starting. So a lot of people, you know, they look at something and they see somebody else doing it. Excuse me, and they just, you know, they just hold themselves back. Damn, I wish I knew how to do that. Damn, you know, if you know, if I was in a different position, or, you know, if I had certain education or what have you, when it's like everybody's, no matter who you are, when you start, you're a beginner.
Right.
So there's always a learning curve. You always have to learn how to do it. So you figure it out. Like people will say, how did you meet that celebrity? I looked on their IG and hit up their email. You know, like it's not like it's not rocket science.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's like,
Well, I guess if money's talking, then they'll answer.
Well,
and
I
then
mean,
fine.
and it's you know, it's about, obviously you need to know how to like present yourself,
right.
and you know, be professional, etc. But yeah, it's just like anything else, you know. Obviously, there's a negotiation. You have to figure out what works for you. If they're worth that, you know, the asking price. But that's with anything, you know. So, and I mean, of course, you know, I definitely, in terms of like the learning curve, like I'm a big proponent of like education. So like reading books and, you know, whatever you're trying to learn about, like, you need to like try to, you know, actively try to make that happen, you know? So, you know, reading books about negotiations and you know, et cetera. I mean, you should always be trying to like get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also with going into, say, something with like a long run at Icon Friday, you know, you're someone that, you know, obviously I've worked with different promoters and kind of see how they work. You're someone that when you find the right DJ, you hold on to them because they fit the vibe that you want. Like for example, a 617 that like they'll have a pool of 30 DJs and just rotate through all of them. Like, like, you know what I mean?
Yep. And
that was like, cause I would DJ for both Pretty Ugly and Six, and I would notice that how you guys handled that was so different being a DJ.
Yep.
How would you go about kind of deciding or like picking, like what's, you know, you've seen so many DJs throughout the years, like what makes you pick that one and not the other one, or ask for that one back more than the other?
I would say a couple of things, like obviously skills, humility, you know, being open to like constructive criticism and feedback, because obviously, you know, with things vary in terms of expectations depending on the venue. You know, some venues don't want someone talking on the mic. Another one won't care. You know, going through the whole, you know, highs and lows, and you know, some venues don't care if it's just straight turned up throughout the whole night. You know, some of them is like, yo, there's too many people in here, and you know, it's giving the wrong vibe, so let's kind of bring them down and go up.
Which is so wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel like anyone would think that's like, wait, you don't want it packed wall to wall? Like,
yeah. But I mean, so that's the politics, right? Especially with my crowd, because obviously my crowd's predominantly black. So, you know, it sucks to say, but that's just what you have to deal with. You know, being at a downtown club, they're gonna, you know, judge it differently. Where it's like, hey, but at the Euro night, dudes are turning up like.
Yeah, dude. It's I used to tell people all the time, I'm
crazy.
like, the single worst fight I have ever seen DJing was at some white ass bar in the financial district.
Yeah,
dude. I saw beer bottle on the head, cracked open, girls on the the worst. But I think the next week that spot was open again. Yeah, like, you know what I mean.
Which
but that happens. Imagine Cure Saturday, bro, and it's like.
All the time.
It would be terrible.
All the time.
You know, it's people don't really realize how those politics work and how really it's, you know, it sucks to say, but black to white, it can mean a whole fucking different ballgame.
Of course. Hell yeah. And it's like, you know, sometimes, again, it's like behind the scenes, people don't see what I have to deal with, but, you know, you have to play that game, you know, and that's life, right? Where it's like, you can't just always say what you're feeling, because at the end of the day, it's business. So it's like you have to give a little bit, but obviously you got to stand your ground on certain things as well. And I feel like, you know, shout out to Pasha. They've definitely, you know, was very instrumental in my career in terms of just giving me an opportunity. At the end of the day, I still had to make it happen. But yeah, Pasha, they definitely gave me great opportunities. Yeah,
and to really just show light on you is like, there's a point you had there 3 major venues at one time, you know, which I think as a promoter, period, is hard. As a black promoter, that much harder. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, just to give you your flowers here. Like,
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And because, you know, just kind of a background on our story personally, like, you know, I was looking for more places to play, different promoters to work with, other nights to play at. So I DM'd you being like, hey, I'm Snacks. I played here, and here. And you gave me the opportunity. So for me, outside looking in before we'd even work together, I was like, yo, this dude has these spots, has the nights. Like, so at that time you had Icon Friday, Cure Saturday, Venue Sunday, at least. And I think probably KGB Saturday at
KGB Saturdays as well,
I don't think you had a Thursday at that point.
Yeah, I think
like
I
just
I
at that
started
moment.
it after,
Yeah. And so to me, I'm like,
Thursdays.
Yeah, I think Yeah. You had Veggie Thursdays. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did.
No, I think I started it after. But before you even go in, I was going to say I had a funny story. The way we really connected, too, was I remember Big Tunes. I was looking for a DJ once, right? And Big Tunes was like, yo, I got this kid. He's nice. And then I was like,
shout
okay.
out Big Tunes.
Yeah, shout out Big Tunes. Carly, what up? But, yeah, so he was bigging you up. And And then he was like, yeah. I was like, who is he? He's like, yo, his name's Snacks. And I was
Yeah.
like, Snacks? And I was like, nah, I'm not
yeah,
booking him. Right?
baby.
So,
You know the vibe.
No,
And that's
no,
the thing. And it's funny because, you know, that was something that I, like, okay, so let's say it like this. So let's say I come at you, I'm like, yo, I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. I'm like, yo, my mixtape's fire. My mixtape in the streets is crazy.
Yep.
Okay, no doubt. I'll be like, yo, my name is 50 Cent. You'd be like, 50
Yeah,
fucking
like,
Cent,
what?
what? But I'm like, no. I got shot 9 times. I'm in the streets. My mixtapes go crazy. My first album's gonna blow. 50 Cent, no way. I'm not gonna give you no deal. What the fuck is 50 Cent? So it's all about that perception. Like now, people snap. Oh my god, it's fucking Snacks, blah, blah, like whatever.
Yeah.
But when I was coming up, it was a bad decision, bro.
Yeah,
It was a tough decision.
Nah,
bro.
I wouldn't even say it's a bad decision just because it was authentic, you know, and it's you. And even with the branding, you know, with the whole pizzas and stuff, and then you got the pizza emojis.
Yes,
and
sir.
You're fucking bringing boxes of pizzas
To the party,
You're eating it
yeah.
at the party.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because even when he told me about you, I passed on it.
Yeah.
And then I needed a DJ for a Saturday, and I was kind of like asked out, and I just was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just take Snacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
it was
I remember
crazy...
that night when I had you, and then I was like, oh,
yeah,
this dude is
bro,
lit.
let's go. Yo,
And then that's when I made you the resident DJ
Yes,
for Cure
sir.
Saturdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because it was the for me, it was the craziest like sequence of events, because I had opened for Big Tunes at a Brunch So Hard event.
Yeah.
And you know me, like that early brunch slot where I'm just vibing and playing these like
So you're
all
just
this. So like
being creative.
So I'm doing the crazy because he's gonna do the party stuff.
Yeah.
I'm where they're coming in early and so I'm doing the creative stuff, like whatever. And again, this was me when I was still doing like the quote unquote white spots at the time. So like the urban crowd didn't even really know me.
Yeah.
And so I'm at this spot like Brunch So Hard, obviously one of my big foot in the door events for the urban crowd. And so people are like, oh, this is different, or like he's doing this or whatever. And then Big Tunes comes in early and and then he's like, same thing. He's like, yo, this is different and whatever. And he gets my name, whatever. And we chop it up. And, you know, me just being hungry, I'm like, yo, like, I would love to like link with you and like practice and just talk game or whatever. So I went to Brockton. Like, I don't live in Brockton.
That's
like,
what's up.
I went to
That's
Brockton.
how you gotta do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's
Went
how you
to a
gotta do it.
studio. And the thing is, at the time, I didn't have a car.
Okay.
So I remember I took the red line to Braintree or some shit, and then took the I forced just to link with him. You know,
which was a great move for you.
Which was a great move for me because we were there talking and we were talking whatever, and like obviously Big Tune's a super nice guy, whatever, and you know we practiced, did whatever nerdy DJ shit, and I remember he was like, yo, so like how you getting home? I was like, oh, I took the fucking, and so obviously you know how DJ, like once we get moved, like it was late. It was not going to be an easy ride back. And he goes, oh no, fuck that, like I'll just take you, you know, him being a nice guy, whatever. But that's how how OD it was.
Yeah.
And then I knew he was like, yo, like I respect you and whatever, I want to put you on. So that's probably how he was in your ear. And then, you know, nothing came about it. And I didn't want to press him. I didn't want to be like, hey, like whatever. So I just kind of let it be. Weeks go by. Stams is working with you at this time.
Okay.
And so I was just talking to Stams as general. I was like, man, I really want to play at these. I was like, I think I deserve it. Like, I think I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And Stams was like, oh no, you 1000% are. It's just, you know, he goes, honestly, you need to go straight to Kareem. Like you just, and I'm like, I've never spoken to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, just do it. And I think it was just, you were asked out of a DJ. I hit you up at the right time, and you were like,
it's all the time,
and you were like, dude, and you were like, boom, let's get it. And then by midnight and I was nervous as fuck.
I told you before the night was over. I was like, bro.
Yes, you told me like at midnight, like so.
Like you're the new resident.
Yeah,
like this is your night.
I was because to me, I'm like, this is again, you have the biggest urban nights in the city.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I want a shot at urban night or like and start getting away to a different crowd and start expanding myself, this is the place I need to do it.
Yeah. I
took that set so seriously, like I was sweating,
you
like
thing, man.
you know, and it was funny because when I was setting up, it was Chris Jordan, Christopher Jordan. Christian, my bad.
Yeah. Christian. Shout out to Christian.
Yeah, shout out Christian. He comes up early and like obviously I don't know the team yet, so he's and I'm like, and because at the time I still didn't know what your face looked like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You know, because you don't post at the time. You weren't really posting your face like that. And I think it's Instagram obviously was like you in your hat.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's no way this is Kareem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect to Kareem. He's a cool, fly dude, but I was just like, there's no way. And he was like super friendly, like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
And he goes, Snacks, right? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I've heard about you. And I'm like, he goes, you better kill it tonight. And I'm like, I'm already mad nervous, bro. Don't tell me that shit. Like, I was like, whatever. And then it was you. And obviously, you know, you came dressed with the coat or with some hat. And I'm like, this is definitely Kareem. And then you're just like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, yeah, hey, good to meet you, whatever. And it was packed that night. It was popping. And I remember it was like about midnight, maybe 12:30. And you just get in my ear. You go, you want to be resident for this night every week? And I was like, yeah. And you go, bet. See you here every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
And it was at that moment where I was like, for me, it was like, yo, I fucking did it. You know what I mean? And it was a big moment for me. And as you know, running that Cure Saturdays with you, like we had, it was popping. Like,
it was popping.
It was huge for me. And like, again, I got into that urban thing. And like, I did a few Cure Icon Fridays with you.
Yeah, you did everything. You did
everything.
KGB.
Yeah, and it was huge.
Thursday,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how Darius found me. That's how a lot of these other people found me. You know what I mean? So I want to thank you for that. And
no, of course. Not even thank you. It's like I said, Pasha, they gave me the opportunity. I still had to make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just because you get the keys to venue doesn't mean that you're going to throw a dope-ass party, you know? So it's like, you got the opportunity and you killed it, you know? And it opened my eyes to say, hey, this guy's different, you know? Because especially with Cure Saturdays, we were doing something different where, obviously, you know, it's right by hotels, the location. So you get a lot of walkthrough. So especially in the beginning, you're getting more like, you know, white people.
There was that one night. Sorry to cut you off. There was that one night where pretty ugly promoters were texting me, bottle girls were people that came early were attending. They were like, what the fuck is with this night? And I'm like, something has to be happening at the W or something, because it was just 80 old people at 11.
No, exactly. And you need a DJ, because the thing is,
do it.
A lot of these DJs, they're not that skilled, you know, especially with all the technology. And that's one of the things that, you know, opened my eyes to like DJs like yourself, Stams. You guys just gave a different element, because obviously I've been around a lot of DJs, right? And a lot of the DJs, it's kind of like, you know what they're gonna play, you know what's gonna be next after you hear them a couple times. But you guys are playing stuff just like, oh shit, this was my joint, like this is dope. You know what I mean? No, or even the way you're like mixing it in. A lot of DJs aren't doing that,
right?
You know?
Right. Yeah.
So you know, big shout outs to you, man. You killed it, and you know, the rest is history.
The rest really is. And honestly, this is just for me. Sorry, I'm just going to take a moment in my own fucking show. Yeah. Because I never asked you, like, so you walk in at probably 10:30, 11. You're dealing with shit upstairs. What were you thinking that first time you heard me? We've never even talked about this before.
No, I was impressed. Like, you were playing, you know, just dope stuff. Like, stuff that, like, a lot of times, too, it's like, there's like set songs that people have. Like, okay, in the beginning, you play this, you play that. You were playing stuff, and in the manner that you were playing it, like, you were playing like some hit song for like white people, and then it would just like you would transition into some dope thing where it's just like, how the hell did he just do that? Like, and you didn't miss a beat where it was just like, yo, that was dope. You know what I mean? Like, even playing, you know how they say, like, when a DJ opens up, like, you're not supposed to play, obviously, like, the hottest shit. Yeah. But you still need to know how to play where people are having a good time. Yep. And you knew how to play like that, you know? So I was just like, yo, I was impressed. Like, I always can tell when somebody's skilled, you know, and somebody's bringing something different, because for the most part, especially in the urban scene, a lot of the DJs are kind of cookie cutter. Like, everybody's kind of playing the same way.
And the thing is the urban crowd are some hard ass, like, cause this is the thing, and 809. So Ado, another black promoter. Yep. But he does more of the quote unquote white scene. And we've talked about this. I'm sad that he's not here right now, because I'm sure he would jump in. But he always said, he goes, there's a reason I didn't even try to go head-to-head with like Darius and Kareem. Not to say that you guys are not difficult people to go against anyway. You guys were super successful. You guys had great venues. But he goes, because he was like, before, because at the time when he started, he hadn't met me yet. And so he was like, at the time, I didn't have DJs that, like, all my DJs would have got booed. Like, because. Yeah. Yo, perfect timing.
Would have.
We were just saying how Ado just walked in the room. We were just saying how, because let me take a step back. So he was just saying how for urban crowds, like DJs are really important, like and I was saying how the taste is so much higher than compared to like say like a college crowd.
Yep.
They're just you have some chick from Oklahoma who goes to BU now, so she don't really know music like pop culture like that. She's just going with whatever. And I was saying how you used to always say that like I didn't want to even get into that scene because it was just like too tough to like impress everybody. The crowd is way too. Yeah, hop on real quick. Shout out Ado. He hops in here and there. Shout out Dope Entertainment.
Dope Entertainment.
Oh shit, yeah. Number 2. Boom. Check.
All right.
Yeah.
Business? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sir.
And so, because we were just talking about how our relationship started and being able to have just DJs in general be able to understand a crowd, see who comes in, and be able to rock with them.
Yeah.
And I was just mentioning, I was like, oh, Ado used to say how with the urban crowd, they can be huge critics. If you don't play their shit, like they gonna be like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, definitely.
Blah 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 blah. I know you'd mentioned that was something that you kind of were not afraid
I mean,
of, but like
no. The thing is, I was like, it takes. To be honest with you, I'm not saying anything bad about our audience, but they're less educated about going out at that stage of their life. So, I feel like the urban crowd, they're older. They're also working for their money, so they also understand. Hey, like if I'm going out, I expect a standard, right? I expect the music to be high. So that's why like the DJs really, really matter. Yeah. They expect like the drinks, like they're not just going out there to go spend all the money that they worked for all out in 2 days. And so for my audience, it's like you were giving me some shit about like some of the DJs that we've plugged. But the thing was, it's like, all right, I need to drive my costs down because like per head, I'm charging way less per head, but then I need to keep my overhead really, really low as well. Yeah. So it's like, I can't always, for Snacks, I get the investment, right? But like for some other DJs, like I couldn't go and afford like a big act with a $10 cover. It just, you know what I mean? It doesn't match up. You know what I mean? So
that
like,
makes sense.
For me, it was always just like, all right, like I understand my audience and what they cater to. Like they care about drinking beers, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's all they care about.
You can't book 50 Cent on Bud Lights.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't do it. So it never made sense. And so that's why whenever I used to come see like a line literally at Cure all the way, I'm like, you're getting, you know what I mean?
You know what fucking time it is, baby.
It's so hard to get those people. And the thing is, you're creating an experience.
Yeah.
The same experience, obviously different vibe each night, but weekend after weekend.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they're older,
Weeklies
they're
are
educated.
Tough.
You know what I mean?
Weeklies
It's
are
like
tough.
I had a lot more flexibility in terms of like what I could do. I would offer a White Claw special one night. I would offer a Bud Light. Yeah. It's just a whole different crowd and how you market to them. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And then obviously too, it's like, just to be real about it, it's like, it's especially for the music, like it's our culture, right?
Yeah,
so of course,
it's so much more.
So they're gonna know, like, okay, this dude sucks. Yeah, like, what is he playing? You know what I mean?
But the thing is, it made it more fun for me because, and it was when I'm doing so like I was saying earlier, like when you have your DJ, like you hold on, and you're like, yo, you work with us, but which I loved, but there were a couple times where especially we did that night. I don't know how many months, like 8, 9 months or some shit like that. Like it was a while.
Yeah.
And so there were a couple times I was like, yo, Reem, like, I might just do this Saturday, like get another guest or whatever. Like I want to literally do something different for once. Yeah. And then I would go to like X Spot with X Crowd, with X Crowd. And I'm like, fuck, I forgot that people actually don't know music like that.
At all.
So how at the end of the night, I would just go on this crazy R&B bender and like just let it slow down or whatever. Could not do that. Yeah. Because they don't. That's if you know.
That's what I mean, exactly.
And so I was like the like musical education level was way down. You know what I mean?
But it makes sense though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like, it makes complete. But that was something that I didn't realize because, like I said, that was my crowd at first. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I switched, and then I started doing both and being like, oh fuck, there's really shit that I can play here, can't play there, can play here, can't play there. Like it was so wild, the juxtaposition of them. But
I think the point that you just made, like the fact that people, like for the culture, right? Because like you're representing who these people are and who you're bringing into the establishment. I think that's such a big thing and part of it that like why I never wanted to really get into it is because like I didn't know at the time too. I was a college kid getting into this game. Like I knew what the culture was and how I was going to immerse myself, but like I didn't know if I was going to have the level or sustainability to actually continue doing it week after week.
Okay.
And just seeing the volume and how much you guys have to like. Again, I don't know what the cost or whatever you had to do to kind of create the vibes, but like I feel like there was way more risk to get and acquire someone to come to your night versus my acquisition cost to go get a college kid to come out. You know what I mean? So like that's how I looked at it long term. Is like I know every 4 years, I'm going to get a freshman class that comes in at BCBU. Right. My marketing dollars are not going to be a lot. Yeah. Thank you, BC. Thank you, BU, and all these schools around for generating these kids. And they're going to be 21. Then they're going to come party with me for 3 years.
Exactly.
2 years. You know what I mean? So that's how I thought about it. I was like, all right, Boston is perfect for this. If I was somewhere else, then probably I would have to immerse myself and get into those other areas. But I remember the night I think you're talking about at Wonder Bar where you played some songs, and I remember some of the kids just looking around. I was just like, why aren't y'all dancing to this? This is a bump. Like this is crazy.
But it's just like if you know someone. So me being the younger dude, like growing up on the end part of when MTV actually played music. Yeah. When like that's all I watched, like BET music, that's all I watched. So like if you didn't do that and you're my age, then you missed a whole chunk of like good music that came out and you just don't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So but everyone at like Acura 222, like these are all like-minded people that grew up, you know, I'm from Boston, that grew up a lot like me. Yeah. That now I can drive and they'd be like, from when I was 7 years old, oh shit, that's what like that, it took me there, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why like
and they grew up on that music. Like, if you really think about it, it's like when I first started, you know, shout out to 617. 617's nights weren't hip hop nights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not at
so
all.
it's like it just turned into where hip hop turned into top 40. Like it came to like that was the main music genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, it's these kids who they don't even really know about hip hop music, and they're just like, oh, this is the song that they play on 94.5 or whatever. So that's what they're used to. So now when you go off into something else that probably was the foundation of it, they're like, what the fuck is this? Like this ain't hot.
and actually, because I know that when I started working with, you know, say like Darius and Alvin as well, like we were still getting, hey, don't play that hip hop shit. And this is 2014, 2015. Like, so as you trying to create this safe space for people that look like you, for you know, young urban professionals like Black, Brown, you know, when that's y'all's music, what are the conversations like with these owners and managers being like, yo, we're trying to create this space, this different crowd, this safe space. We need this music. What is that conversation like?
So the thing is, when I started, my company was called Nightlife Executives. So Nightlife Executives, we catered to young urban professionals. So in the beginning, like that's how I got my K Pretty name. Like I used to be straight suited, like three-piece suit.
I mean, you still are.
But
yo, check that. Yo, we now available on YouTube. If you want to check Kareem's fit right now, check out YouTube with a Dope Entertainment on YouTube. Yep. Check the fit real quick. Put respect on his name. He's still out here.
Nah, but legit, like straight suited, and we used to.
That's dope.
And those are the times where, you know, they used to say, like, you had to wear church shoes. You know, like, you had to wear dress shoes, collared shirt. Like, that used to be the dress code for guys. Collared shirt and shoes, you know.
Word.
But, I mean, it's like, you know, after the times changed, I already had my relationships. So the venues knew what type of person I was in terms of, like, handling business. I was one of those promoters who I was tighter at the door than security. You know, it's how's this guy getting in? You know, like, no disrespect to him, but
he's I've seen it.
You've
seen it,
big time, yeah.
Yo, can you tell that story? Actually,
by the way, I was gonna bring it up.
I love that this is finally happening. Yeah, I love that this is finally happening.
So I'm obviously I'm new. I'm new on the block, right?
Oh man,
I'm just getting into the game.
Was this at Cure?
Yes. So I'm getting into the game, right? So obviously at the time, this no dope promotions, no nothing. Like I'm working under Ace, right? Yeah, and we were, I forget where our night was, but basically a client of mine was downstairs and he was like, yo, I'm a Cure, like come check it out, like come say hi. And all of a sudden, I go up to the door and I was like, yo, Ace, can you just let them know I'm coming over? And I knew the ownership and blah, blah, blah. I just didn't want to cause any trouble. And so he's like, yeah, I'm a text Kareem.
Yeah.
So I walk over, there was a fence, that little fence right by here. I go right up there. Yep, and I'm like talking to Sharok for a second, and then I go a little further out, and I go to the door, and Kareem is posted up right at that like this, and I'm like, and I'm walking downstairs. He goes like this. He goes like this. He does the arm bar. He goes, yeah. Where the fuck you going? Yeah. Where you going? The cover's right here. I go, yo, like. Are you Kareem? And he goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. I goes like, oh, check your phone. Like Ace let you know that I'm gonna come in. He goes, I don't give a damn who texted me. You're gonna pay this damn cover. I looked at him like he had 10 heads. I was like, really? Yeah, and so then I walked back outside and I was just like, yo, Sharok, I can't get inside. And he was like, you got to talk to Kareem, right? Because obviously that respect factor is his night. Absolutely. And I always know, like, all right, cool. And this was the first time I'm really getting into it. It's like, you can't go to an owner just because, and like that dynamic doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So eventually, I think you checked your phone and you were like, I'll walk you down, and then you walked me down.
Oh,
but
so you did make it in?
Yeah, I did make it in. But it was no, but it was
that's fucking hilarious.
For the most part, that's honestly why I told myself to that night I was going to be respected. And I tell people all the time, I was like, you humbled me to the point I was like, these people are going to know my name, so then they want me to come into their establishment.
And what's so funny is like that. No, and the thing is, I didn't realize who he was initially, right?
No, of course, but he was early.
And then,
very early.
No, it was early. And then later on, just when I was trying to start a night, I actually hit him up, and I'm like, I'm like,
yes, sir. I love it.
And we talked, and he actually laughed about it and he was just like, and he had told me it's obviously like,
don't take it personal.
Everyone be always asking, I get it. Everyone always asks, can I get it?
But you're consistent, like you said, it don't matter who you're. And the thing is, people might listen to that story and be like, oh, like, we love Ado, like, why would you do that? But that's that business.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
I do it to my people all the time. Sometimes I'm like, that used to work for us, and I'm like, and they're no longer work for us, and they come to the door, and I'm like, yo, why are you asking me to come out of pocket? You should want to support me.
Yeah.
Like, a supporter should be paying.
Exactly.
I get it once in a while, but don't act like you haven't been coming here, or I'm not going to go get you a drink downstairs.
Exactly.
Pay the cover.
Yeah, pay the cover.
We got celebrity.
And it's
celebrity
like,
DJ Snacks downstairs. Pay that cover.
When he came out, so he was just coming to check it. I think he had a friend there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people try to name drop.
Right.
Ace. This one, that one, you know, happens, and then just coming in, and then you're like, "Come on, dude! Like, oh, I'm just coming in real quick to see somebody."
And then there's a shadow on the wall, not spending money.
No, 2 a.m. You're like, "What the hell? You still here?" And drunk, like, "Yo, thanks, bro. Thanks.
Great night, man. Great night.
See you next week.
I'll be here next week."
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on.
Oh man, that was the first time. That was actually the first time I think we talked about it since the actual approach when we were working together.
Oh my God, I fucking love it. That story makes me laugh. So I love that story. So
and that's my exit. Now
we love you. Hey, everybody. We love you. Perfect. Yeah, I mean that Cure run was legendary, man. And for me, it did so much for me. And I had some of my best nights. It was funny. I was getting a story like reminder. Like 2 days ago is when I opened for Envy, when we had Envy in the building.
We had Envy, we had Drama.
I
remember you were really excited
I
for
was
the drama.
so amped for Drama. Yo, that was the one time where I go up to Dilvin and I'm like, can I get a picture? I was like, can I just get a real picture? I'm like, this is DJ Drama, yo. I need a picture.
She couldn't stop taking pictures of you after that.
I'm
like, yeah, where's my pictures at?
What's up? Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, she always teased me because I was like really awkward when I took pictures. I always like made funny poses. She always teased me about it. But
it's so funny, right? Looking back at, like old pictures, and I'm like, damn, I had Snacks when he didn't even have facial hair.
Right? Yo, so my shit's not all grown in yet. I'm not like you. But I'm like, damn, should I just let this go? I'm like, oh, but then I look back at those, I get those reminders, and I'm like, nah, I can't go back looking like that. I look like a baby.
Yeah, you do
like a whole ass baby.
It's just funny. I just seen an old pic, and I'm like, wow, this dude was like a baby.
A baby. Yeah, that was literally like before like Snacks like boomed. You know what I'm saying? So like that was me. I was innocent. I was just trying to make it. I was just trying to make it at these clubs, and now I'm like, yo, fuck these clubs. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? But it was awesome run, and you were doing things. You know, we were doing things together. You know, you're doing pool parties, brunches, like all that stuff. And then obviously COVID happens.
COVID,
and
fuck COVID.
Yeah, fuck, literally. Fuck
Shout out to COVID. So the thing is, right?
Shout out COVID. Shit.
Yeah, shout out COVID. Because I mean, for me, I felt like. It was a time for everybody to take a step back, right? And to take a step back and really reflect on like where you were in your life, whether it's like personally, professionally, and figure out like, you know, are you on the right path? You know, like are in terms of this journey, like what are you doing? So for me, it was a time for me to reset where obviously you have more time to spend with your family, but also you have more time to look at yourself and say, you know, are there certain things that I'm putting on the back burner that it's like, because, you know, you can get very comfortable, right?
Absolutely.
You get very comfortable and you could just kind of like, you know, ride the wave and just keep doing what you're doing when it's like, when you're looking to be great, you know, and I feel like that's what everybody should be striving for greatness. It's like you have to challenge yourself. You have to always be taking on new things to get better. And that's something that I did. So, you know, I got into like investments. Shout out my brother. He pushed me to get into, you know, investing into stocks, you know, and, you know, started, you know, Essential Men's Grooming, which is a skincare line. Actually even partnered up with Darius from Get Right Entertainment. We started Alpha Marketing Group.
Shout out episode 2, our first guest. We had Darius.
So that's AMG. So we're doing that actually out in Atlanta, right? So it's like, you know, I feel like, you know, there were negatives with COVID happening, but I feel like, you know, and that's just with life, right? When negative things happen, you could either, you know, complain about it, whine, and say, oh, this sucks. Absolutely. Or you can just take it in stride and say, what am I going to do about it? So I feel like I kind of just took it and just kind of like took the bull by his horns and said, you know, what am I going to do about it? And, you know, still, you know, striving to like turn that into like positives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Super well said. And that was something that even on episode 1 of this shit, like that's what I was saying from jump. I was like, yo, like I'm here doing this podcast thing because like now I'm finding
that's dope. Shout out to you guys.
A sidestep, you know what I'm saying? And so I definitely, what you're saying is resonating completely. But I think, you know, being an event planner, an event thrower, a party thrower in a pandemic is
tough.
Is one of the worst. It's almost as bad as being a DJ. You know what I mean? Like we're all in the same boat.
No, we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat.
And so
us, clubs, restaurants.
And so, you know, obviously follow you on Instagram, Facebook friends, whatever, and you're still doing your thing. You go to Atlanta and, you know, you're just trying to continue your business. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, with everyone in their opinions of the pandemic and everything like that, I see people in the comments, yo, what the fuck? Like, you're the reason, like, blah, 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 blah. I kind of just want to give you an opportunity to kind of just, like, maybe plead your case and just kind of explain to people from your opinion from the opinion of the businessman, of the event planner, why you have to keep going and why you decide to keep going in the way you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I decided to keep going just because, you know, at the end of the day, that was my business, you know, well, and it still is my business. So while other people are, you know, getting checks and getting bailed out, like we don't have any support, you know.
Right.
Everybody who we used to comp every week and we used to take care of
disappeared, ghost.
They don't hit me up anymore. You know, like, so it's like at the end of the day, it's like you have a life to live. You have, you know, for myself, I have mouths to feed, you know, people that are depending on me. So it's not like I'm doing underground like parties and not having you know, like COVID regulations and things like that. You know, the things that I was doing in Boston, obviously we had to switch it up where it was more like a dinner party and people come out, they're just eating, listening to good music, good vibes. Was doing some stuff out in New Hampshire. Where, you know, things are a little more open up there. But, you know, just following the guidelines. It's like, you know, other businesses are open. They have, you know, their employees come in and they're working. It's like, you know, I need to work as well.
Right.
You know? So nobody's coming to save me. I got to save myself. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's how I look at it.
No, absolutely. And I just think that it's hard. It's so easy because I have I'm not gonna say like the luck, like I did it for myself. Like I'm happy enough to be able to fall back on a 9 to 5 that I've always had.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like people are always like, "Wow, you're doing so well as a DJ. Why don't you just DJ?" Like fuck this. And I'm like, because you never know what happens, and then COVID happens. You know what I mean? So I'm happy, and I'm able to be comfortable and stay afloat because while I lost one job, I had the other.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you don't have that, and
Yeah,
a lot of
I don't have
people,
that
and a
luxury,
lot of
yeah.
people don't have that. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it's easy for someone who has a 9 to 5, who sits on a desk, who sits at home to do their work.
Yep.
To be like, oh, this dude, fuck this dude. He's doing this. He shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's easy to say that.
Exactly.
And so that's why, again, a big reason I want to have you be able to explain, let people kind of understand your side of that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why Atlanta? And so why Atlanta? What was that transition? And then trying to build a foundation that you spent years building here.
Yeah.
Trying to move that to a completely new place. What was that like?
So Atlanta, it was funny. So obviously Boston was shut down. There was no parties. You can do anything.
Still that way?
Yeah.
Still that way,
And started seeing, some action out in New Hampshire. So I said, hey, let's go to New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, me and Darius, we was spending a lot of time together because we was working out throughout the summer.
Yeah, I was there, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Show me
You
love,
know,
show me
well,
love.
I'm just,
No,
letting
yeah,
the crowd know.
Yeah,
The audience, they know. So that's how me and him was working
Right,
closer together.
Yep.
And so I was like, hey, let's go to New Hampshire. So he's like, all right, cool. So we started doing some parties out there. Went pretty well. And then one day, he just called me. He was like, yo, Reem, I think I'm going to move to Atlanta. He's like, you should come out there with me. And it just, as soon as he said it, like, it was no, like, maybe I should. Maybe I was like, yo, I'm down for that, Just because, like I said, it's just kind of like it went full circle, right? Remember I told you right before I had my son, I was going to I was going to do parties in Atlanta.
Right.
But because I had my son, I came back to Boston, and that's when I started doing parties in Boston.
Right.
So I had confidence from doing successful parties in New Hampshire where it's like, I don't even know anybody in New Hampshire, but I was able to manage and execute a party that was successful out there. So I said, this is Atlanta. Like, I can do that, like, with my eyes closed.
So hold on. Because I feel you, but at the same time, like, and then this is me playing the devil's advocate to me. So like, I feel what you're saying, but to me, if you said that to me before you left, I'd be like, yo, Reem, chill out. Like, New Hampshire's just a state away, and a lot of it is because Boston is in a market.
Exactly.
So everyone's going to move to New York. So to me, I'd be like, yo, ain't no one driving to Atlanta from Boston. Like, like, how are you going to do it? How did you do it?
No, I mean, so I focused on, so this is one thing that I think a lot of people get misconstrued with, like, parties, right? So they just think like, okay, obviously, there's different roles in executing a party. So normally the head of the company is the promoter, and he usually runs the company as well. I'm more so in a role where I manage the company and I hire promoters, right? So it's a little different. So as long as I'm building the relationships with the venues, getting the, the right DJs, hiring the right promoters, I'm going to be able to execute what I'm looking to do. So, I have the full confidence in myself where I'm like, listen, all I have to do is be able to identify within the market who's the best DJs, who's probably the best promoters to partner with, and just use my own skills that I have in terms of developing relationships, get the right relationships with a venue. Realistically, just get one solid one,
Right.
and then show and prove from there.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now, where we have a weekly Saturday, Your Saturdays. Check it out if you ever down south.
Plug it up. This is the place to do it.
Your Saturdays. And it's actually the first night's February 6th. We have Sky from Black Ink Crew. She's hosting it. And for the rest of the month, we actually have celebrity guests. Can't really say yet just because everything's not executed on it yet. Mm-hmm. But we're going to be having celebrities for like the first month just to establish the night.
Straight, yeah.
Yeah, just to kill it. And Yeah, I mean, we've already been able to develop like pretty solid relationships with like other promoters. It's just different out there. Like Atlanta, it's just a different vibe. So Boston people, it's more about partying and dancing. It is about partying in Atlanta, but it's more about
VIP life,
it's
right?
actually more like how Bijou was. Like I never understood how Bijou was. Cause I used to be like, yo,
No one
people don't
danced.
even dance.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
you just go with your friends and you're in your own section. And I was just like, that's kind of whack. But then shout out to Bijou, nothing against them, because I never really experienced it. So I didn't really understand it. But now going to Atlanta and experiencing it, then I'm like, oh, this vibe is dope. Like, I like this vibe, where you just kind of like chill in your section or whatever. You come out with your people. But obviously they have hookah, they have food. It's different.
Oh, they got food out there too?
Yeah, they got food too. Yeah, you would love it, Snacks.
Yeah, I would love it. No, it's so true because and I would feel that because I would play Bijou monthly and all that stuff, and every time I went there, I'm like, coming from a 222 the day before, like where like it's like everyone's gonna dance, everyone's gonna get low shit,
it's different.
and I'm like here, and I'm like, damn, like when I play this record here and this record there, it's two different things in the same city, and it was when Gucci and Jeezy did their versus battle, and then there was that after party, and there was like the videos of and like. I remember everyone up here was like being like, "Yo, that shit don't even look fun." Like no one was moving, but that's just the culture of that spot.
It's just the bottle prices are much cheaper. Like they're doing like bottles of Henny for like $1.50 before 12. Like it's just unreal type of stuff.
Don't get me out there, bro.
Yeah, you definitely got to come out there. We gonna book you out there. You already know.
Yo, post COVID, I'm out.
Yeah, it's a different vibe, man. It's different, but yeah, we just had the utmost confidence in ourselves and just said, hey, at the end of the day, we'll figure it out. Like, it's not rocket science. Like I said, no matter what business you're trying to get into, a lot of times people start themselves, and they say, yo, I wish I could have did that, or I wish I could do this. And it's like, once you say you wish you could, you can't do it no more. So once you believe that I can do that, obviously you still have to research. You have to figure out how to do it. Then you have to train yourself. You might have to get a trainer or whatever that you're trying to do. But you can, it's real. You could do anything, man. You could do anything you want to do.
So I'm just trying to understand, like, did you already have a connect or a network or a plug there? Or did you just walk and be like, hey, we're these two dudes from Boston trying to make shit happen?
Like, honestly, man, like, it was just, you just walk in. This is what I do, and you just give them your background. This is what I do. You could check the facts, check my IG. You see what I do out in Boston. Like, this is easy. Once you come out with that kind of confidence, obviously, you still got to execute, So, that's the thing. Like, just the way I set up Pretty Ugly out here, I try to do the same thing that I'm doing out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, as someone that has kids and that is, coming back to be with them, holidays, we just had a holiday season. Like, what is it like? Like, are you concerned? You're at some of that summer. So if when you're doing your night and you got to, you're worried about making the money to feed your children and to be able to hold yourself down. Like, do you get thoughts of being like, fuck, like maybe this is a little scary. Maybe this isn't the right thing to do. Like,
no, of course it's definitely scary, And like I said, it's like with anything that you're trying new, it's definitely kind of scary. Obviously, you kind of sometimes have self-doubt, like, damn, like, is this the right decision? Like, if, like I told you, we had a Friday night, and then we supposed to have a certain venue, and then that deal fell through. So sometimes you'd be like, damn, is this even right? Should I keep doing it? But with whatever you're doing, you just gotta put your head down and focus and just do it, And, and deal with, whatever happens when it happens. So our mindset is more so just let's make this work, like, because especially in times like this, when you take that risk and when you make it work, the rewards are huge, When there's no risk, the reward is slim, So I felt like, again, for myself, it was more so like it was kind of like meant to be. As soon as Darius mentioned it to me, like on that phone call, I said, I'm with it, Obviously, with family, you have to take the precautions in terms of obviously like wearing your mask, getting the COVID test sucks, you know, but you got to do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's even been times where, you know, I've come home and I've just quarantined and, you know, like now you got to take, you know, now you got to pay like maybe like I don't even take chances. So I'll just stay at a hotel, you know, just because I have a little one. So just not trying to take chances or whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, it's all about what I make of it, you know, and I'm big on manifestation, and I feel like I'm just going to make it work, and by this year, you know, I'll be like the guy out there.
Word.
And, you know, it's going to happen.
And Atlanta being such a different market just in terms of music and culture, have you seen the differences, like, let's just say, like, DJs and, like, what they're playing, and then how you already talked about, like, people are, you know, more, they're not really looking to dance or, like, whatever. Like, I don't know if Atlanta has a, you know, big Caribbean population like Boston does, like, or even
so
Atlanta.
they actually
like,
do, yeah.
So so what is the music scene out like? What
so
are
the music,
like?
the music scene, I mean, it's heavy trap. It's
I'm
honestly,
sure. I mean, it's the birthplace of trap.
It's heavy trap. So it's heavy trap. The other thing that was weird is there's DJs. So you know how like in Boston, like sometimes people want to get on the mic, but it's like no, it's DJs, and if they want to get on the mic, they get on the mic. In Atlanta, it's different. So there's hot DJs and there's hot MCs, and there's MCs that kind of have a brand name, and you know they actually like, you know, they're talking on the mic, and people want them to be on the mic like all night. They're like going into, because it's heavy sections, they'll go from section to section and hang out with the person who has bottles or whatever. Like it's a different vibe.
Yeah, that's
it's
a southern thing
crazy.
Because Malcolm was saying that DC is like that too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just different in terms of like the MC thing. So even with that, where it's like we've tried out certain MCs and we're like, damn, he's trash. It's almost like getting a trash DJ. Like the crowd's like, I'm leaving.
That's
like,
not double your expenses.
It is. It
but
is.
And you think it's worth it?
You have to have it in Atlanta. That's just how the scene is.
If, let's say, you book me and I'm like I think I rock a mic pretty well, would that just not fly just conceptually, or would people like?
So I haven't been out there enough, but I think it would. You know, some MCs or hosts, they're not getting into everybody's sections, but like I feel like the more popular ones, that's kind of like what they do.
They can just get away with it, and
they're
people
just
want
like
them
hanging
there,
out, exactly, because now it's bringing more attention to your section. Now you're more lit,
right? Because he's there.
Yeah,
he's
there.
gonna stay
It's
at the
almost
section
like,
that's more lit.
That's what I mean.
Right,
it's
right,
like think about it when you get a section. You want to be closer to the DJ. You want to be closer to the action. If there's a celebrity, you want, you know, the one that costs the most is the one next to the celebrity.
Right.
So now if dudes are in your section and everybody's looking at the dude with the mic, your section's more lit. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that was very different. But it's crazy because Atlanta does have a big Afrobeat scene. So that's another thing that we're looking into. Obviously, coming into a new area. Excuse me, we're gonna focus on like the hip hop for now, but this big like I would like more Afro beats scene. Yeah, word. Yeah, I was always curious. Which is pretty dope. Yeah, I was always curious. So like, you know, when I do get booked out there, I just want to know. You know what I'm saying? So get your trap. But and the thing is though too, that was one thing that, you know, I've spoken to Darius about, where it's like, I want to come out here and bring our vibe here. Right. You know? Yeah. So I want to bring our DJs who play different, who can play Afro beats, hip hop, trap, everything.
East Coast takeover type shit. That'd be dope.
No, honestly. And I feel like the crowds, because they do have, you know, they have like an African community, they have a West Indian community, they'll appreciate it and say, yo, that night is different. It's a different vibe. Completely. I like that.
I mean, vice versa. Like if there was an Atlanta party. Yeah. Where it was just these Atlanta promoters with these Atlanta DJs up here, it would pop off. Yeah, like, it just would, you know. It's funny because, so conversation with Malcolm and then with our last episode with Real P, both of them were talking about how Boston DJs or East Coast DJs are way more skilled than DJs in other other regions.
Just when you said Malcolm, you're talking about Malcolm X?
Correct.
Oh, okay, that's my guy.
Shout out
Malcolm X.
Yeah. So both of them were talking about how highly skilled Boston DJs are. Now you being in Atlanta, do you see that as true? Did that ever occur to you?
Yeah. Like the first couple of DJs that we used, I was like, damn, these DJs are terrible. Like these DJs,
Like in what, like just like mixing like ability or
mixing ability. They had no range, so it was very like just the same.
that's that shit that
Same vibe.
yeah. So Real P was like, a big we're in the melting pot. We have to like Cure, like Snacks got it. Like if 50, 60 white 60-year-olds pull up in Cure,
Yeah.
and then right after them 3 tables of 25-year-old or younger professionals walk in. Can he balance it?
Can he do it?
Yeah. So Real P was saying, based on that, the fact that we deal with that on a weekly basis up here, we're able to adapt to anything.
Yeah.
And you found that.
Well, so the
apparent
thing
down
is,
in
for
Atlanta.
me, I don't even. So, like, I don't look at it from like, okay, Boston DJs, or like, I feel like that's even selling yourself short, right? It's like, I'm not a Boston promoter. I'm a businessman, like, you're not a Boston DJ. You're a DJ that happens to be in Boston,
Right,
so
right,
it's
right.
like,
For sure.
I don't, in totality, not to like shit on people, but I feel like in general, most DJs are kind of the same out here in terms of like just cookie cutter. I feel like better DJs separate themselves. Like when I heard you, like you said, it was midnight, and I was already telling you, yo, I want you here every week, because I already knew, like, oh, he's different,
Word.
So I wouldn't say, like, Boston DJs as a whole. Not shitting on them, but it's just, yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but yeah, you being like, yeah, they just stick in a trap bag all night.
Yeah, trap, and then, I mean, honestly, just DJing in general, because of the technological advances, you don't need to know how to DJ. Back in the days, dudes needed to have crates. You needed to like really be like hungry with it. Dudes were like practicing. Like now you could just, I mean, I'm sure you could speak on it. But they're just sending you like, hey, these are the hardest songs, and you just, I guess, load it up and you just play them.
And no, like,
and you could not even have to be playing anything. You could just be acting like you're playing, and you could just be playing a mix. And I'm sure DJs do that, which is crazy.
Okay, so me. Like, oh God, I post video just to show, like, just to be like, yo, this is what I can, like, this is the shit I'm doing, like, whatever. And I've always been like that. I've always been here being like, yo, like, there's been times I gotten drunk and I'm like, the fact that you booked this person instead of me, I'm pissed. Like, there have been times I've literally done that. Ada was talking about last week. He was like, yo, like, Snacks, you're not a mean guy. And I'm like, bro, I've been an asshole. Trust me. And so you saying that, I'm like, and it's true, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm young and have came in the age where the technological advances were there, but I was like, no, like, that's too easy. Exactly. And meeting older heads, Big Tunes, and really hanging out with them, where I'm seeing, like, when I went to Brockton to Big Tunes studio, and he's like, no, you got to be able to do this. And I was like, fuck. Went home, learned how to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So hearing that, I'm like, oh God. Like, I definitely know what you mean. Yeah, there's plenty of those everywhere.
There's a lot of people who just like, oh, that's cool. Like, you're kind of like, because, it's almost like being a promoter. Like, some people just want to be a promoter to say, hey, I'm the promoter. This is my party, even though they're not bringing anybody, like, hey, and now I can get girls, or now I look cool. Some DJs are like, yo, I can just learn the basics.
The general, yeah.
And now I'm a DJ, so now I'm a cool guy, like, I'm DJing at Venue, or I'm DJing at Bijou, or wherever. So now I'm like that guy in the city.
Yeah. So many.
So there's a lot of people who don't take the craft seriously. And I always, I've been around, so I always pay attention to like who has skills. Yeah. Like you said, once I identify someone who has good DJ skills, I try to just keep them around.
And I always. Because when you were in my ear about it, I was like happy because I already saw who you at the time. You had DJ Money, DJ Stans, Big Tunes, Papa Don, like dudes that I looked up to. So I felt like I was like, yo, I made it into this circle, and I feel happy about it. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely are one of the promoters that I'm like, they know the ear, they know their crowd, and that's why you keep them. You know what I mean?
And for me too, like I felt like I owed it to my crowd to not necessarily, they're used to a certain thing, but just because they're used to that doesn't mean that they're not open to something else, you know? So, like, DJs like yourself, like you said, Stams, Big Tunes, when you guys play something different, it's just like me. Like, I normally listen to hip-hop, dancehall, whatever, But if I hear something that's like, you know, I don't know whether you call it top 40 or whatever, but it's dope and it's done well, it's like, yo, that shit's hot. Like, I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to be able to, like, be open. And then now, guess what? My crowd's hitting me like, yo, Reem, that DJ was dope. Whoever that was, bring him back.
Right.
I like that, you know? Or like when we have Malcolm X. Malcolm X is bringing different
Yeah,
vibes.
DC vibes.
DC vibes that people are not used to.
Yeah.
Just because they're not used to it doesn't mean that they're not going to appreciate it, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. No, yeah. I mean, when you want to have that East Coast takeover and have a bunch of,
but that's the
know,
thing. I'm not even
Northside
looking at
DJs
it
going
but this is
crazy
the
on
thing.
your.
I'm not even looking at it as a Boston takeover or anything, right? I'm looking at it as, hey, we have a DJ who is gonna know how to execute the music, you know, like. And
when you need me to shit on those ATL DJs, just let me know. Just let me fucking know, and I'll do it.
I got you, man. I got you.
Before we wrap up, I do want to talk about just some of your. I know you got into investing recently, and on the day of this recording, it's just been when actually Robinhood
Crazy.
Rips off a few of the potential stocks that people could buy into, GameStop, AMC, and etc. It's been an insane day in the stock market on Wall Street. Kind of what were your reactions and just with growing, you know, your investment portfolio and everything like that?
Honestly, like when I started hearing about like GME, first off, I was like, what's GME? And then I realized like, oh, that's the GameStop.
GameStop, yeah.
You know, I didn't really have the knowledge because, again.
Is that me? That might have been me.
Oh, I think that's me. My bad. I'm like, who's talking?
yeah, both of us were shook.
Right. But yeah, so I didn't really have the education on it to understand like what was going on with it. And then when I realized, you know, about the whole Reddit thing and how they were like supporting GameStop, and I think they were supporting like maybe like 4 other stocks. I mean.
Of like bankrupting companies.
Yeah,
like
bankrupting companies. So the thing is, though, I think it's like, you know, right now it's trending, right? Where everyone's like GameStop and this and that, Robinhood. But I don't think everybody truly understands what was happening. And it looks like it might be like an inside job in terms of like, you know, with the whole Robinhood where all of a sudden you couldn't buy anymore. All you could do was sell. So it seemed like, you know, they were helping out the hedge fund. Yeah. Again, I don't know if that's what happened, but that's what it looks like.
I mean, it definitely looks like that. And it's
crazy.
Just, and it's
insane.
Like, I mean, it's definitely illegal somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Like, people are talking about that, like, yo, the owners of Robin, they need to be in jail. Like, and it's like I said, at the time of this recording, it's when it happened. Like, I'm sure tomorrow there's going to be some crazy news. I'm sure by the time this episode is out, a bunch of shit has happened.
Yeah.
But it's wild. Like, it's just been a hell of a day in terms of the stock market.
It has. But I would definitely urge, you know, definitely your audience to definitely get into like investing. I know for myself, when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody who, you know, like my parents didn't invest. You know,
right.
They look at investing as like 401k when it's like 401k.
My parents are the exact.
Bullshit,
all they talk about is 401k.
401k. So like I got hip to it from my brother, but also what kind of gave me the confidence to actually really start putting money into it was I listened to a podcast, Earn Your Leisure, and shout out to Earn Your Leisure. To I think their cousins Rashad and Troy. So they have a platform where they basically just talk about financial literacy. So they talk about real estate, they talk about loans, they talk about investing into the stocks, and they do it from a vantage point where you can understand it. You know, like
in layman's terms.
Yeah, they're fairly young guys too. Yep. You know, they're not like some old white dudes. You know, where you're gonna be all bored. So they kind of do it in a platform kind of like this where, you know, they kind of like fusing, like they talk about hip hop, they talk about everything.
Word,
which is cool.
That's dope. Yeah, I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yeah, you should definitely. I'm surprised you don't know about it. But you know, like I said, I would urge people to check them out because it's like education's key. Yeah. Like I said, no matter what you're trying to do, you know, normally you stop yourself from doing it. And it's because you don't, you know, most people don't start. Once you start, you're golden. You know what I mean? Like that's the first step. So I would urge everybody to get into to investing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've gone into little by little. I'm still learning. You know, I'm not ready to like put in tons of stuff into something I don't know. But I'm trying to find more research. I have some homies that are so fucking into it, but in like like you know how like investing can be like gambling if you do it a certain way. Like I have a couple of homies that like I got this is in like August, like when we
day trading.
So
that's gambling.
I got dinner with, you know, back when we could, you know, in August when we could sit outside and blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, like how you, like I hadn't seen homie in months, and I'm like, yo, like how's everything? He goes, yeah, and he like kept checking his phone, like he's like mad like ticky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, are you good? Like, do you need to be somewhere? He goes, no. He goes, it's just this stock. And I'm like, oh shit, like, how's it going? He goes, well, this week I made $50K.
Yeah.
I'm like, $50K. I'm like this week. I'm like, so how much did you make this month? And he goes, what? Well, this month I've lost $80K.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I was like mad shook. Like I was just like. So I was like, so that's why you're bugging. Like over, like we're in dinner. I'm just trying to. My phone's down. You know what I mean? And he's bugging. Like
no eye contact. He's probably
he's bugging. And I'm like, oh shit. And like, it was stuff like that kind of like freaked me out about it. But then as I learned, you know, you can do like more long term stuff.
So that's the thing. So like, and that was the thing for me too. Like I felt like when you hear about getting into the stock market, you just, at least from me, you know, I was ignorant. So I just automatically thought like how your guy was doing it, where he's just day trading and you're like, just, you got to pay attention to a computer. Like if you walk away and get like a bowl of cereal, like you might be screwed because you just missed something. Yeah. But that's like day trading. So what I'm into is more long term. Yeah. So it's really, it's pretty like simple. Like, you know, they try to like train you to think of like, whatever you're into, like let's say you like Apple, like you know, you have a Mac and you have an iPhone, Apple Watch, all that. It's like invest into Apple, hold it long term. You want to get into companies that, you know, have good leadership, have good products that you believe in, that you feel is going to be there over the long haul. And then you're more so thinking like, if this can give me you know, 15, 20, 25% return, that's golden. Like that's great. When you put your money into a bank, you're getting like 0.02%. People don't even understand that. Like even if you got 5% return in the stock market, it's better than putting your money in a bank
and just letting it rot.
Yeah, it's better than putting it in a bank, you know? So once I started realizing that, you know, and I would actually challenge you to just get into it, because honestly, once I just got into it, especially now, like, you know, my return is at like 50%, you know, and that's with me having like limited education on it. You know, I'm still trying to challenge myself now to like get more into it. Dudes that are like really into it, their returns are like 120% right now, you know, which is like unreal. It's unreal. Crazy. And just by having limited education, a lot of people like lost out on potential money that they could have made. Even me, I'm feeling like, and I'm at 50%, and I'm like, yo, if I did this, or not even just long time ago, just right when the pandemic really hit off, which was in March, if I really started just learning about it and investing between March and like May, I would have made 6 figures. There's people who made 6 figures easy. Easy, you know, like, and it's just off of having education, you know. So it's like if we, like, I like, especially, you know, like I said, in the urban communities, like we don't have that education because our parents never learned about it. They think investing is 401ks when it's like 401ks is bullshit. Like that's not, you know, like you're not getting no real return off of that. Right.
It's just saving.
Yeah, you're just basically saving. You know, you might get a little, but it's like, these dudes want to hold your money. They're using your money while they're holding it for you, and then they give you like a small little return on the back.
Well, like people lost 401k during COVID.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy.
Like people lost like tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah.
So it's like financial literacy is key, man, and that's, like I said, like in terms of, you know, during this pandemic, that was one of the things that like I really challenged myself, and then even just trying to challenge people around me, where it's like, yo, have you invested? Oh, you didn't? All right, yo, look, check out this Instagram, check out this podcast, you know? So I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going to put you in this this group chat that we got. It's like me, Darius, Amero's in it. Shout out Amero, BVD.
Amero's
Sir Harry.
Amero's
Those are my
buying shoes
guys.
every weekend. All of a sudden, is
I
talking
know.
all this investment talk. I'm
But
like,
but he's invested into like he has some good investments actually. You know.
Yeah.
So he's challenged me as well. Where it's like you want to surround yourself with that. So even people who might not necessarily be like experts, but guess what? Now this is a person that you talk to, and he's talking about his stocks. Now it's gonna motivate
and
you.
you're
to
ping
be
ponging.
like, it's back and forth. You know, so you always want to be obviously keep yourself around people who are like doing those kinds of positive activities.
Word, yeah, no doubt.
Investing,
No
working out,
all
that.
Yeah, summertime.
Yeah, we gotta get back in there. Yeah, we gotta get back in there.
I mean, winter's been crazy. Like, obviously, I still, with my jump rope game and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Like, but yo, we were getting sessions.
We were getting
yo. If you follow either of us this past summer, we were working out like it was the fucking gridiron game. We were getting popping.
We was holding each other accountable.
Yeah, it was
great,
dope.
Man.
It was good, like camaraderie vibe.
Yeah,
I think we all needed it at that time.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we'll get it again once
the weather's nice. We definitely back out there for sure. Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a huge pleasure. Is there anything else that you want to shout out, that you want to just reiterate and let the people know that you're working on?
I mean, I'm working on a lot. Definitely check out my IG page at KJFL, KAYJAYEFFEL. On that page, I just really try to talk about positive things, inspirational things, motivational things, just about striving for greatness. So that's what I'm about. Check out Pretty Ugly Media, Essential Men's Grooming, Alpha Marketing Group, doing a lot of different things this year. And just thanks for having me, man.
Dude,
I definitely appreciate it.
No, this has been an awesome conversation, and I think, one that was necessary just in terms of the things you've been involved with and, giving people that perspective. You have lots of great experience, longevity, and now doing it in different places. You know what I mean? So definitely. I think, it's easy to say that you're great in one place, but now when you can prove it and kind of rinse and repeat and prove it in other places, you know what I mean? That's when you can start really calling yourself successful. So I appreciate you coming on and being able to tell that story and that experience. It's been great to see you, period, too.
No,
you know what I mean? I went from
minute.
seeing you twice a week to, seeing you like months at a time. So it's been great. But please follow Kareem. Follow everything that he's fucking working on. I can't even list it all anymore. Follow Dope Entertainment Official on Instagram. We're now on YouTube. This episode will be on YouTube as well if you want to check out Kareem's fit. If you're wondering if I'm still adorable after all these months, I'm still super handsome. Just check it out. Follow But I Know the DJ on Instagram. Follow me at Give Me Snacks on Instagram.
Yo, wait, hold on, man. But what happened, man? There was no. I thought I was gonna have some pizza today or something,
bro.
Man.
I think. So this is episode 7. I think at least 10 guests.
You gotta start having pizza.
They're like, is there gonna be pizza there?
Yeah, you gotta have.
Can we have pizza in here, bro? Can we? I don't even think we're allowed to have food in here, right?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. But
I mean, we've had Henny in here before, so
yeah. Sneak some pizza, man. Yeah, sneak some pizza in here.
We'll
man.
figure it out. We'll figure it out. Once the budget gets up there, once we get that sponsorship, this is a lot. You know what I mean? We're gonna.
That's coming, man. Y'all are doing.
We're
thing,
getting
man.
close. We're getting. And I mean, Ado's in the conversations with some brands and stuff. There's just some numbers we got to hit, and that's why we just want to continue with good quality guests and good quality content, and
definitely.
Getting people to tap in and just listen. You know what I mean? And share, obviously. So, but we're getting there, man. We've passed 2,000 plays and everything. Like we're doing well. So.
Most spots, I won't even say. But a couple of spots I went to was kind of like little basements. And I like this. I feel comfortable. So
no doubt. And we have a great team. Shout out Phil.
Like the
shout
logo
out Ada.
too. The logo's lit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we out here. We do what we can.
Mustache.
And so you'll know it's official when I put a beard under it. It's gonna be over, son. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, man.
And we appreciate you being a part of this. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Looking forward to coming back on the next season.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's definitely gonna be a whole another wave of shit like when things open again. And now it's like okay, like now what are you doing?
Yeah,
we're just recapping with some of the guys like we were talking when shit was down. Like now we're all up.
Yeah,
now it's good. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's gonna be dope. But won't keep you here much more longer. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't listened to all of our 16 other episodes, please do. Tap in with Kareem. Hit him up for any events that you need. If you're going to Atlanta, he's the guy. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Word.